Hey everyone, it is your old buddy Jeff Horowitz with Dentist in the Know, and this is Humpday Happy Hour with Dentist in the Know. We are your backstage pass for current trends, politics, and education in the dental world. We are live, and we're over a little cocktail out of my favorite glass. Tonight is just a little vodka cranberry cocktail beverage that I'll be enjoying with JB and with Dr. Karla Soto, who has been with us before, but we're so excited to have back again. This particular episode of Humpday Happy Hour is being brought to you by iTero. They are, of course, our educational partner. Dr. Karla Soto happens to be a key opinion leader, as is JB. They are also global educators. And so we're really excited to have some conversation about what's going on in the world of Align. But for now, you are going to have to sit tight and listen to some Jennifer Bell and myself. Dr. Chad is away. He won't be with us tonight. We're very sad about it. And in honor of him, I wore the glasses that he made fun of last week, just so I could say I wore them again. But anyway, you know the routine. Jennifer Bell, Dr. Chad Duplantis, and myself, we are all dentists. We're all business owners, and we are all educators. Our job here at Dentist in the Know is to help bring you in the know. So without Chad, I have no one else to go to but you, Jennifer. How are you?
Well, I am doing just fine. Today, it was like a beautiful springish summer day. So, can you really go wrong with that here in North Carolina? I'm pretty excited. Although
How green
pollen
is
is
your car?
coming. Pollen
Is
is
your car?
coming.
Yeah. No, it is here already. My black car
Yeah.
is green right now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I heard today on the radio, I guess Raleigh's been ranked like one of the 10 worst cities in the US to live in for allergies. So, if you have an allergic profile to all things nature, probably not your best relocation move. I actually had a couple who came to my practice, has probably been 8 years now, who relocated from Arizona, and they only made it about 3 years before they went back. They're like, "We just can't
Really?
hack it. We can't hack it here."
Well, if it makes them feel any better or you any better, I believe South Carolina is in the top 10 with highest rates of venereal diseases. So that may be a little bit worse
We'll take
than bad
allergic
health.
profile for 5,000, Alex.
I mean,
For sure.
everything is relative, right?
So true. Now
Yeah.
I don't
You
feel
want to
so bad
sneeze
anymore.
or you want to go, ow, it hurts when I pee.
Yeah. I'll take sneezing, please.
I'll take sneezing.
I like
Exactly.
sneezing. Yeah. No, I think okay, you know what? See, that's the thing. We complain about a lot of stuff until we get perspective. Once you
That's
get a little
right.
perspective, you're like, "Wow, my life's not so
Yeah.
bad after all."
Not so bad. I can walk around with a box of tissues,
I'll
right?
tell you a funny story about today because maybe it kind of correlates to where we just went. So tomorrow in my office, we do this twice a year. I don't know how you manage your your staff's dental needs. That's always kind of a challenge, right? To make sure they're getting their dental care taken care of as well.
Great
Uh,
post though. Save keep that thought. We'll do something
okay.
about that. I like that.
So for us, thanks to my business partner who came up with this idea a really long time ago, we have 2 days a year where we shut the whole office down and we treat our staff and their family members. The way our dental benefits is kind of structured in our practice, it's your immediate family, spouse and dependents, and yourself get free dental care. And it's kind of tiered. Like if you want to do ortho, maybe it's a small lab cost, maybe not, whatever. And so we shut the office down twice a year. We have a decent sized team, so 15 to 20. And so in order for everybody to get taken care of, everybody gets their hygiene visits, any restorative dentistry that needs to get done, et cetera, we do that. And then usually in the afternoon, which is hilarious, by the way, we usually will go out and do a really fun team outing, except half the team is numb. So like we've done party buses before and people are trying to drink beer out of a bottle and it's like rolling down their face. So it's not like totally brilliant, but it is really nice that we take care of them. So I was working on a patient today and we were chatting about that. And they were like, oh, that's really nice that you do that. And I don't know why I started thinking about this, but I was like, what do they do at the OBGYN office? Like, do they just shut it down and everyone gets pap smears that day? And how awful is that? I wouldn't want a pap smear done at the same place that I work in. I think you would just have to take time off and go get that done at another place at another time with different people altogether.
Again, a different view of perspective, if you
Right.
will.
Right. So then I thought, wow, we do have a really unique field. And how lucky are we that our team is comfortable enough, I
Right.
guess, to be vulnerable and allow us to take care of their needs that way. And they don't have to go to, someone else in the community because they don't want to open their mouth.
Yeah. How interesting. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
I
there's
never really
perspective
thought of it that
again.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Today I had something interesting happen. And we've all had this where a patient decides at some point they just want to get up and leave, and we weren't running late or anything like that. It was a patient who was given a consultation fee for a sleep apnea consultation, and they came in. They knew what they were responsible for, and came in and they actually came back right on time, sat with my sleep care coordinator. She did a whole history, was talking with him. And then it was about my time to come in and do the exam. And, it's about
Sure.
20 minutes I've got to get in there and do my thing and talk with them and give perspective and whatever. And so he says, before you get the doctor, what's this going to cost me? And Gina said, well, I can't really give you, an exact
Right.
until we have all the insurance documentation and we send off a
Sure.
pre-authorization. And he's like, well, I can get a CPAP online for $200. I'm like, yeah, the filter might be broken down and it may give you cancer, but go ahead and buy a CPAP.
Yeah. Do
I
it.
didn't even
Do
see
it.
him. So, but anyway, so she says, well, I honestly don't know. And he's like, well, you know what? Just forget it then. She goes, no, let me get Dr. Horowitz and he'll try to answer all your questions. Make sure you understand your condition and then we can go from there. Well, while she comes in to get me, he goes bolting out to the front desk and asking for a full refund. Now we've blocked off an hour. Other patients couldn't get in. He spent 45 minutes with my sleep care coordinator. And only when he heard that, it wasn't going to be 100% covered, did he say, you know what? Your time wasn't worth anything. I'm just not paying for any of this. So, and let me take a step back, because if I think I can't help someone in a room and they've come to me and they just had no idea I was the wrong person to see, I will not charge them. I'll say, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let's get you to the right place. Come see me when you need to
Right.
come see me. But that's me choosing to do that. They went out there and they said, well, that's fine. You keep it on there. We're going to challenge the charge. And they walked out. And I'm telling you, I'm fighting that one tooth and nail. I mean, if it's my decision, it's one thing, but you all can chime in and tell me if you think I'm being an a-hole for that.
I
But
think that's a
I
great
don't.
idea.
Yeah. So
I,
anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you for letting me do that.
of course.
Yes. But I think you have some news, and then I want to bring Dr. Soto on because she's
You got it.
awesome, and I can't wait to hear what she's got going on.
Of course. I always have news. Although I will say, like, dental news seems to be taking a little bit of a backseat to national news. Like, there's something new and interesting every day. So maybe we'll start a secondary podcast just on national news, because you can probably go for about 2.5 hours. So,
Can I say that one more thing before you do the news?
of
Were
course.
you like as taken back as I was? Almost like we had just done the lunar landing. Did you watch that splashdown yesterday and all that?
Yes. And the
Yeah.
dolphins
And the
swimming
dolphins, like,
around.
yeah, I got kind of like, wow,
Yeah.
like that was a big moment for
Can
me.
I tell you something? I don't remember who said it, but it was like a NASA issue, like somebody in that realm as a commentator said, these attempts and all these things, make it so possible that we may be able to get back to the moon. And I thought, my conspiracy hat went on. I was like, why is it so hard to go back to the moon? We went
Yeah.
to the moon. We landed on the moon. We
Yeah.
drove around on the moon. Why is it only now in 2025 when something splashes down in the ocean can we envision 55 years later, we can kind of imagine maybe going back to the moon? I'm like, immediately I thought, oh gosh, they know. They know we didn't actually go. I don't know. I don't know if we did. I've definitely lived my entire life believing that we went to the moon. But when you speak something into existence so silly, like how us going back and forth, like literally commuting to the space station at this point, like it's not a big deal. We shoot things. There's not a rocket every day, but almost every other day. And we can only now imagine maybe getting back there.
Think about possibly considering that there might
maybe
be a chance.
getting back to the moon. Meanwhile, Elon wants to go to Mars. Like this is, I mean, we're what's actually real anymore in the space program? I don't know.
Can we work on getting me to Paris on time first?
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. I'm gonna have to get a tinfoil hat. Sorry, everyone. Okay, well, we'll do the news. So let's talk about a few things that are going on that I think will be of interest. It's actually kind of funny. The first story I'm going to read oddly reminds me of the fact that we're still talking about the moon, right? Because I remember lobbying when I was a dental student and participating in ASDA. Yes, proud member of ASDA, and was in the state and national leadership. And we would go to lobby day every year to support our causes. And back then, of course, as dental students, one of our consistent themes was student loan forgiveness, student loan opportunities, because a lot of the repayment programs, a lot of our ability to write off interest, et cetera, was not very favorable for quote unquote high income earners, which was like over 100 or 150,000. Oddly enough, we're still debating this still today, 2025, which is almost 20 years since I was debating it in DC. We're still talking about student loan programs and making them more favorable for medical and dental students. There is a current bill up for consideration. It's been introduced in both the House and the Senate. To look at a couple different angles of the student loan program. It is known as the Resident Education Deferred Interest Act. This is to help secure dental students and medical students as they pursue their educational pathway through residency, that they can defer the interest on those loans until they complete their programs. I think it would also help defer some of their payments on the student loan and minimize or eliminate the appreciation of interest during that time period as well. I know when I finished dental school and went into residency, I had deferred payment, but I certainly was accruing interest during that time. And the ADA president, Dr. Kessler, noted that the average student loan debt for dental students today is around $312,000 when they finish dental school. So those loan payments and accrual of loan could be quite significant. In fact, some are now hitting a top line interest rate of about 10.5%, which is substantially higher than what many of us saw. Maybe not Jeff. This isn't an old person joke, but I do know there definitely were folks that graduated in late 80s and early 90s that were seeing interest rates somewhere around 14 to 15%. So we haven't quite hit that threshold yet. But 10.5 is definitely higher than certainly most of my colleagues saw. So if you have interest in it, want to go ahead and communicate your support for this particular act, the Resident Education Deferral Interest Act, go ahead and reach out to your local or federal House and Senate representatives so that you can voice your support. Another interesting story, only because it's my state. You may not remember, but it's been about 10 years that North Carolina made national news when it went on a pretty strong campaign against DSOs and corporate ownership of dental practices here in the state of North Carolina. In fact, having lived here during that time and being a dentist, it was pretty contentious. You had huge organizations coming in running anti-dentist ads about how we were only interested in saving our own foot, and that we were doing it for money. We didn't really care about the patients, in trying to prevent private ownership outside of being a dentist here in North Carolina. We did manage to defeat it, but I think probably just slowed it down to some extent. Well, another act has resurfaced. This one's actually pretty bulky. This particular bill called SB 3, hold on, let me make sure I get it correct. Yes, SB 316 is actually a Healthcare Costs and Increasing Transparency Act. So it's not just dental. There's a lot of meat in this particular act, which I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time dissecting bits and pieces out so I can understand exactly what they're trying to accomplish with the act. But there definitely is a line in there that a dental practice being owned by a non-dentist would not be considered practicing illegally here in the state of North Carolina. So obviously we'll be watching that incredibly close because that's something we've been fighting against for a really long time, trying to maintain private ownership here in the state of North Carolina. Don't know how that's going to work itself out, but we'll keep you posted on that. And with that, that's the news. Oh, actually, one last story, more of a bit of a personal indulgence, if you will. It did make the news, but this week, North Carolina lost a dear colleague in a private plane crash, Dr. Mark Bowman out of Greenville, North Carolina, who had been in private practice there for many years and really well loved by his patients and his community, was flying to Florida with his wife for the weekend, I assume. And shortly after takeoff, had a pretty horrendous crash right outside of the airport there in Greenville. And so, North Carolina dentists lost a dear colleague and friend. And I don't think, we see lots of terrible stories about dentists doing all kinds of weird and crazy things, but it's pretty heartbreaking when you just see them trying to live their life, maybe escape the stress of practice a little bit and spend some time with their loved ones. And it just didn't quite work out the way they wanted. And I know for me personally, these are always times of reflection to make sure that I'm living to the fullest and appreciating those around me. And with that, that's the news.
Thanks for sharing that, JB. Yeah, it's I agree. We can sometimes get so consumed in just what we're doing in our careers that we forget that there's a really great life to live too, and that that we need to make the most of it. So great points. And as to SB 318, which of course I've been following.
316.
Oh, damn it! I wanted to sound like I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work the trigger here. Would you be okay with introducing our awesome guest tonight?
It would be my honor.
Okay. Well, you do that, and I will pull her up as you do.
Okay. every time she comes on the show, I get to brag about her and talk about how wonderful she is. But each time I hang out with her, I just feel a little bit more convinced that I've made a great choice and a friend, and that's with Dr. Karla Soto. So we've been doing a bit of a road show together recently with Align, which has been a complete blast. We've had so much fun. It's fun how our curriculum, let me back up. You know how you connect with people, Jeff? This is the same way you and I kind of hung out the first time. You connect with people, you talk about stuff and you're like, oh man, we actually like kind of think the same. And I'm vibing, you're vibing. I kind of feel what you're thinking. But then you don't really know. Like they go back to their practice in their world and I go back to mine. And you're like, I think we have a lot of similarities. I think we row in the same direction, but I don't know. Until you actually watch someone speak, until you watch their work, until you kind of see how they connect with people, then you're like, oh yeah, actually, I think we have a lot in common and quite a bit. And that happened for us in Toronto last year, where we actually finally got to watch each other work for the first time, not as dentists, but as educators. And it was crazy how I had never seen her deck and she had never seen mine. And yet they were almost as if they were written to sort of parlay into one another. And maybe it was just because we knew each other enough to know what one was going to sort of summarize, but it was really kismet. We've had a lot of opportunity to serve on the GP advisory board, kind of helping Align channel its power towards supporting and lifting up GPs, not just an orthodontist company. Yes. And as faculty, beta testing a lot of fun products, which we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. I can't imagine doing this ride with anybody else. Well, I won't say that because there's maybe friends watching who also are doing it with us. But they're amazing. They're also very great people. Very great people. But it's OGs in the house tonight. Only Dr. Karla Soto.
Oh, I love you, babe. I love you. And I love you too, Jeff. But there's something about Jen. I'm sure you felt it when you met her too. Like when she speaks, you're just mesmerized. Like she's always like so beautifully like words everything. I mean, you were saying the news. I'm like, I think I could just sit here. You should do the national news. Maybe they'll make sense then. Oh my God.
Zhuzhed up a bit more to get national. I gotta go zhuzhy. I gotta get bigger.
That color looks amazing on
you.
We can get you a can of Aquanet. That's really all you need there.
Exactly. 1980s call, Jeff. They want their hairspray back. Aquanet. Also, I just want to go on record because it feels really important. I was a White Rain girl. I don't know about this Aquanet. It was White Rain for me all day, every day to get the height.
From Jersey. It was every pocketbook that women had to be large enough to carry the large size Aquanet hairspray bottle. And I am a child of the 80s.
Guys, we're going to places right now.
You didn't know.
With dentistry.
You didn't know.
I should know better. I should know better. With
one last story about the hairspray, and then we're gonna leave it. I'm terrible. Karla, see my purse. I'm terrible about putting everything in my purse, and there's probably dead bodies in there. I haven't even found yet. Like everything goes in there. I definitely, probably in my 20s, put an entire can of hairspray in my purse, going somewhere, doing something, and somehow managed to discharge the entire can into the purse. So when I finally got to said destination, unknowingly discharging the entire can of hairspray, it's like glued together. Like sections of it won't open. It's leaking on the outside. Like while you think it's aerosol, there's a lot of liquid in there, and it glued. The purse was ruined. I basically salvaged any tiny credit card I could dig out of there, and then I threw it away.
Whoa!
I was like, no.
Whoa! That's I don't think I've ever seen what that can do.
Is that a PSA? PSA. It can happen.
Yeah. Potentially.
Keep the lid on. Keep the lid on.
Man, let's not talk about hair because I had so many plans, guys, before. Like I was like, today I knew it was a full clinical day, but I had you today, and then tomorrow it's the Coachman class in Miami. So, and I'm going to that. So I'm like, I'm gonna blow dry my hair. I'm gonna get my hair done after the office, and then I'll come. It's just like really pretty to this podcast that we're doing, and I did none of that. So let's just not like talk hair right now.
Bring the mom buns back.
The good news is that more people will listen on podcast than will watch.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You're good.
Do not look at me right now. Look at Jen.
Don't do the video, people.
She looks glorious. No, but it was. It's really interesting, and we were, we always want to do more than we are anticipating that we're going to be able to do more, and it's just really interesting because my full on ADHD. Full on into I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna wash my hair, I'm gonna curl my hair, I'm gonna do all of this stuff, and then it was literally 7 and I was still in the office, and it was I think so if I get home by 7:15 I'll still be able to do all of that. No, I barely ate, and then here we are. So
Jeff knows nothing about ADHD.
Yeah, I have no idea what you could possibly be talking about. I get everything done I need to get done by 9 a.m. So,
You got your hair done. Your hair looks good.
oh, well, thank you. I'm
That's
going to my
because his
follicular
patients-
therapist tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, his patients walked out today, so he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh man, that story. I think everybody that's tuning in knows about that story, and it's with time and with being at the beginning of us practicing, right? When you're like still young and you're like you take it full on personal. Well, at least I did. I'm sure you did, Jen. I don't know, Jeff, but and then like now it's like, why are people crazy? Like I haven't even talked to you. I haven't even shown you anything, and you're saying like you're being ripped off by what? I haven't even presented anything. Like what? Like you had to choose. You want someone to be honest about everything that's going on, or you want someone to just like glaze over everything and not tell you anything, which kind of like is a nice segue to what we're about to talk about today, right? Which is scanning and the all the data capturing and the way that we can communicate with patients. But it's still I don't take it personal anymore, but it still hurts and it's still a waste of time. And the thing that I hate the most is how these patients treat our team. Our team, like, exactly. I mean, all of our practices, we care so much about making sure that our team's well taken care of and that they take care of our patients. But when they're going the mile and then patients are being disrespectful, now I'm taking it personal, not for me, for my team.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could ramble about this.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't want to lose them because of those types of patients. Do you know how hard it is to find people who buy into your culture, want to show up every day? I mean, it really is difficult recently to find people who want to come to work. So the last thing I want is for a couple of, I'll say a couple douchebags on the phone or in my office to basically make my team wake up that day and say, I don't think I want to get beat up by you. I don't think so.
Right. Yeah. No. Oh my gosh.
If anyone's going to make my team miserable, it's going to be me.
I'm sure that's not the case.
Is that because of your dad jokes and stuff? Or
maybe. Maybe.
Right. So now I'm going to change this subject and say, let's talk scanning, because we've got now not only one a brazen mane, amazing brain to my left, but a second amazing brain particularly in the world of digital and combining that with comprehensive treatment planning. So tell us a little bit about where you have been on the scanning front and where you are now and how things are changing, more specifically, in the last year, in the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's been a really exciting ride, the world of digital and scanning. And one thing is scanning for a specific thing. Like people used to just scan, let's say, with an iTero for Invisalign, but that's like evolved so much. And now you're scanning to diagnose, you're scanning to communicate, you're scanning for everything, anything and everything, like pre-treatment, and then during treatment to perform the treatment, then after, of course, for maintenance. So in particular, right now, the exciting thing that's going on is the launch of Lumina Pro, which has the restorative features in the new iTero Lumina, which is kind of like a league on its own kind of thing. So the really exciting thing that I've been part of, and one more cool thing that Jen and I get to share is, we've been doing true clinical trials, and there's something really I don't know if you feel the same, Jen, but like been super interesting because it almost feels like a superpower to really, and my curiosity like starts taking this clinical trials to the next level, and then I want to keep doing like cross checking and things like that. So the cool thing has been, Lumina is this like completely different technology of internal scanning. I mean, the most traditional scanners out there are confocal technology, and then Lumina is completely different. It's a multi-direct capture, multiple cameras, it's very specific angles, years in the making, and then it was launched about a year ago, about a little bit more than a year ago.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the restorative capabilities. But Jen and I did have them because we were doing the clinical trials to get certified so that now the world can have it. So when you're asking me, we could talk for days, but when you're asking me where things started and where they're now, I mean, I feel limitless with what I can do. And I think for me, in my particular way that I practice comprehensive interdisciplinary. I do a lot of combination cases, like, surgeries and ortho and cosmetics and all of that. It is like the playground to be able to do anything and everything. Is truly in the interdisciplinary, because it just captures so much data in such a like quick way that I can do like surgical guides for like hybrids or all annexes, or I can do like, and I don't, and Jen and I have talked about this. I personally hate doing dentures, but the amount of data that you're capturing now with Lumina, it's just so wide, and it's just so, it makes everything easy. I sent a patient that I really wanted to do a hybrid, but they couldn't afford it. So then we ended up, preparing for a denture, and I am everything and anything digital, everything. But for removable, I still want to do the chart relations. I still want to have that part on. I know that there's workflows where you just like scan and deliver. I haven't mastered it because I've never done it, or I don't do dentures that much. In this particular case, I wanted to go through all those like specific, like let's just do a like custom tray and get like all the tissues and stuff. And the lab technician was like, this scan is perfect, and we just jumped to jar relations, and then I did jar relations, and like the fit, the retention, it was beautiful. So, it's almost the things that you even think you can't do, now you're able to do. So yeah, that's where we're at now.
100%. I want to say two things, because if you'll allow me, Jeff, if it's okay.
Please.
I
can't run the whole show.
I know. Or the whole company.
Or the whole company. Absolutely.
The first thing I want to say is, until I got involved with this, I didn't really appreciate how much other doctors participate, or at least with Align, in getting product to market. And that, I kept telling people when they were like, when is restorative ready? And I said, when we've broken the machine enough times that when it gets to your office, that won't happen anymore. And that that's what beta testing doctors are doing, is that they're going through all the pain and all the software updates and all the crashing the machine essentially, and finding its weak points to the breaking point, so that it can go into a GP's hands and be successful. So that's not a horn tooting thing. That's a really cool thing that a company does to make sure that by the time it gets to the end user, that they get all the benefit of that they don't have 22,000 support calls, because you can push that stuff to market really fast, and then your reputation gets messed up and end users are not happy and stuff. So that's what GP doctors have been doing for the last year, is just making sure that when it finally was released, because let's be honest, it could scan it. It's not like some magic thing happened. Right. It wasn't that the data wasn't collecting. It's just verifying that the information was going to be perfect. And the other thing I'll say is, I love removable. For me, I think Lumina is going to be the game changer in removable. All the literature thus far, says pink edentulous, like can't do it, sucks. And I'll tell you, I've tried to scan dentures with other scanners, and I got to the point where I was like, just drop your denture off at the counter and I'll call you when I'm done, because I don't know if it'll be a 5-minute scan or a 40-hour scan. Like I'll just be over here deleting, scanning, deleting. I did the first one in front of a patient, and I was so mortified by the end of it that I said, can you just bring it back tomorrow and give me another 4 hours? And I'm going to fix it. I'm going to hack this. But the power is, the patient that walked into my office yesterday, who's had a denture for 50 years and loves it, like literally loves the denture. There's nothing wrong with it. But her insurance company, that she just happened to fall into dental insurance, and the dental insurance company is going to pay for her to get a new set, which in fairness, she's really due after 50 years. But the whole time I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I didn't have a scanner, I would have sent her away, because there's no chance on God's green earth that I could ever replicate the thing that she's had for 50 years. 100%. And I looked at her and I said, if I didn't have this scan, I wouldn't do your case, because I've done this before and it did not go well for me. And so the fact that I have a scanner that that I feel very confident I could pick up and scan in 5 minutes your denture and your edentulous space and not sweat so much.
I
Like, as a
love
clinician, you're like, man, I've got superpowers.
I love that story so much. I mean, we can hang up. Bye. We're done. We're done talking about it. Peace out. No, seriously, I love that story so much. And like I said, I don't do that many dentures, but the ability to scan the denture, the intaglio surface, to do that within literally seconds, or to scan a fully dentulous within seconds. Yeah, no, there's nothing. And I was scanning everything and anything with my 5D plus. It's not that you can't do it, but how long, like you could have scanned that one in front of any patient. You could have a crowd and scan that denture, because it just goes. And I do think that because you and I have been trying so many like things, right? And then we get to try like both the regular way that we've been doing things and then the trial thing. We have almost that like muscle memory on the different techniques of the scans, and we also see how accurate it is. So
Yeah,
I do think that having that superpower of having tried for 1 full year every single restorative procedure does give you that, like, not only does it work, but like I see some areas where it's like a million times easier. And I do think I think the what it does the best is just like the big things, like the full mouth restorations, like veneers, no prep veneers. I'm having beautiful scans with no prep veneers that were really tough with the confocal technology too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super exciting.
So let me jump in here too, because on the restorative side, as someone who does make a lot of removable appliances, not necessarily dentures, but a lot of functional appliances, a lot of orthodontic appliances, a lot of sleep appliances. What's that?
You could scan them.
100%. And the other part of that is like deep palatal vaults were the nemesis of scanning. Like,
oh yeah,
a deep palatal vault, you were done. You forget the scanner, go ahead and get the impression trays out. And so we got
a trash can.
Exactly.
For that deep palatal vault, you also need the trash can.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
Yep, well said. But yeah, so putting Lumina, when we switched from the traditional 5D iTero and went to the Lumina 1, all of a sudden I'm like, this is an epiphany with regard to full mouth rehabilitation, full mouth appliances, functional appliances, and the ability to capture tissue in a way that we hadn't been able to do it before, or that just took so long that you were frustrated. Jennifer, I tried that a couple of times too, where they're like, just scan the denture. I'm like, what do you mean just scan the denture?
Yeah,
I don't have an extra hour.
It's so hard.
So hard. But you know, the whole deep palate thing, we should almost do like some sort of like social media competition, like show me like the deep palates with
palates.
Show me your mouth cleaner.
No, seriously, because it's effortlessly, like you're not even trying, and it's not stitching little parts. So the accuracy of that scan is also full on there. So yeah, for appliances, for sleep, for airway, incredible. And
even for people who are using Align and want to start using their expansion, the ability to be able to the ability to capture that power that you couldn't get before. It's like, you're just opening yourself to all new kinds of treatment and capabilities.
And kids too, because the wand is like half the size. So it's like in kids, it's just so much easier too. And what happened to me when I was learning the new technique, it wasn't like I wasn't trying to get the palate. Like I wasn't trying to get all of that extra soft tissue. It was just happening. So yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things, like the wide, like the amount of capture that you have, even when you're not meaning to or want to, and somehow it also avoids like the tongue, like, you know what I mean? It's not like it captures the things that you want, not the things that you don't want. So that's been really fun. But the fact that now Lumina is approved, and, thank you, Jen, for your service. Then, let's just say thanks to us, finally. No, well, us and like a handful of other amazing doctors, like you said, that participated in it. I think the the thing, and I don't know, Jen, if you had the same, let's call it a small worry, because I don't know if you feel the same way, but now it feels personal, right? We just claimed that thanks to us, things are happening. So there is some sort of responsibility. And there is something about, I don't know, there's something about this accountability of doctors. And I am a doctor. I have a million friends, doctor friends around the world, but there is something about us that it's always someone else's fault when something is happening.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to like take a moment to say, like, guys, it's incredible. The technology is amazing, but you have to learn how to use it, because you have to completely unlearn everything you've ever known about scanning, take it away, and now learn this new technique. That's the only way that you'll maximize and you'll get the results that Jeff's talking about, that Jen's talking about, that I'm talking about. But you have to train your team. If not, it's not going to be any different or even slower than anything you've ever used before. So definitely take training. If you're not getting the results that we're talking about, is because we need help with the technique, and we would be more than happy to help you with that. But don't just get frustrated about yourself, not at the machine. Poor thing.
That's exactly right. Can we talk? First off, one of our viewers said Partha, who's really funny. And I know he's not speaking truth, but he's like, I love border molding with green stick compound. So, might not be the technology for Partha if he's really loving. I actually hate green stick. I never
said no one ever. Did he really mean that? I don't think he
I never mastered it. And I did have a few faculty that were still using it, and some combination of rubber base and green stick. And then a few would let us do the PVS, which I really liked a lot better. I never could get green stick to work. And, they'd get it all warm. And I'm sure like half the young viewers are like, what the hell is green stick? Like, I've never even seen it before.
So anyway, wait, how long is that still taught in dental school?
I doubt it. They don't have time to even barely teach digital. Like,
No, like the green
instructors.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's probably PVS. If I had to guess, I bet they're teaching bread and butter analog with PVS.
It wasn't supposed to completely replace the cosmetic border molding with the green stick, though. Like, I mean, I do it. I do with all my dentures that I do, which I don't do that many, but I do it with bite registration, the border molding, and then the PVS when I have to have.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. I was like, whoa, what am I missing here?
No. I'm sure that's what they do. I'm sure they do a quick. Well, they probably do the slow set, like heavy body.
Yeah.
Them all the time in the world, and then they come in with the light body wash. No, I feel pretty confident that's what they're doing.
I hate
anyone who knows. Feel free to chime in.
That's not what our area, well, at least not my area of expertise at all. Is
right. Two things I'll say about that.
With my red and blue pencil that I put the picture of.
Correct.
Yeah.
For surveying,
there should have been a piece of green stick compound next to it.
Yeah, you should have for surveying your partial. Yeah. I haven't surveyed a partial
since dental school.
Jeff's closet of obsolescence.
You should do an obsolescence tool list, like all the, things that
don't you love how we're talking about the newest, most incredible scanning in the world, and now we're back to like PVS and green stick and like surveying
blue and red pencils.
We are so traumatized, guys. This is like, we can't get it out of our head.
Yeah. No, after watching my classmate lock on a PVS for an immediate denture and like have to cut the custom tray off, and you see the plume of Triad like smoking out of her, and she took her like 3 hours to cut through it. That was enough. She became an orthodontist, I bet you, for that particular event that happened. She's an amazing person, and she probably didn't become an orthodontist for that reason. But when that happened, the wind got sucked out of everybody, and I said to myself, I am going to try my hardest to that never happens to me. So we joke in the office when we're doing a denture. So I do actually a fair amount when we're doing a denture, and it's like a nasty perio situation, lots of spaces. And you're like, oh, thank goodness we have the Lumina, because I would definitely either extract the teeth or lock it on. One of two things are happening here in this particular scenario.
Nightmares, or
No
locking
doubt.
hybrid when you're relining or things like that. That's just nightmare stuff. That's why, again,
That's right.
full on digital
For sure.
baby, like digital baby. Yeah.
Karla, talk to me about, I loved, and if you end up saying you can't talk about it, then I'll just cut it out of the show. But at faculty, you highlighted an anecdotal study that you did, which I think at some point we can actually, I hope it gets published at some point, but
it got approved. It's
awesome. Can we talk about it?
Yes, we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. So, part of your inquisition, your quest for knowledge, wanting to understand, you had this technology in your office. You were already beta testing it for a lot of stuff. And so I'm sure part of you was like, well, let's just compare and really see how good it is, right? So talk to us a little bit about the independent study that you did in your office with Lumina and some of the other technologies out there today. And what did you find?
So I've been because of digital, I've had the privilege to, be able to do like all on access, like do this like guided surgery. So I'll do the extractions, I'll do the surgery, and I'll do everything. So when you're in control of all of those things, and when you're testing technology, then you get to play with different parts of things that are not even part of the clinical study. But this particular case, I did just the scan with Lumina alone. It was a lower all-on 6. And then I did a 5D plus scan, which is how I've done, before, with photogrammetry, which is my regular workflow. And photogrammetry is known
for listeners who don't know what photogrammetry is. Can we talk about that just a little bit? Because it's actually not a well-known technology.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk like the specific technical stuff, but I know that so photogrammetry is basically like an extra step during the workflow where there's specific flags, and it's taking specific. It's almost like because scanning with confocal, we have inaccuracies when it's long spans.
That's
Anything
right.
that you're scanning, when you're scanning with long spans, you start getting inaccuracies when you're crossing the arch. So this concept allows for like to really have true references and accurate references across the arch. And it's like there's different kinds of photogrammetry. I used PIC for the longest time. And then basically what it does is like almost like this particular picture with a different machine, photogrammetry machine. And then everything almost gets joined together. You're scanned for the soft tissue, and that's the most accurately known relationship between long span implants. So I did 5D plus with photogrammetry, and then I did a regular Lumina scan, and then we fabricated both of everything. So we fabricated the bars, and then we tried them on, and then of course we know which one is the trial and which one is the real thing. And not only did we do that, and if like the Lumina one fit to absolute perfection, just like the other one, but that's just what you feel. But then when we compared the Lumina scan with the photogrammetry scan, this particular case was 100% accuracy fit. Like basically they were both at the same level,
actually, which maybe slightly better.
I'm not going to say that, and I'm not going to make claims. I'm going to continue to do studies that like with more hybrids, more like studying different cases, but because I feel we need more than one. So far I have
one is not enough. Yeah.
Not enough. But the case report got approved to be published. So that's exciting. It's my first kind of like real publication, so it feels
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting.
But that kind of stuff is exciting, and for people who are listening, it's not that hard to get into, but I think understanding how you do it. So were you able to find a lab partner, for example, that was willing to now take on some of the cost of fabricating the extra? Because for us, that's the hard part, is like, of course, I would love to make X appliance, Y appliance, and Z appliance and compare the three, but I can't pay for all three, and I certainly can't pass those costs on to my patient. Just right.
No way.
Yeah. So just maybe for anyone out there who's thought about ever publishing or getting into some scientific studies, how do you go about talking to your laboratory partners to say, hey, I want to write this article, here's what it's about, but in order to be able to do this, I'm going to need you to make, from two different scans, I need you to make the same thing?
I think that, I mean, I'm not the pro at it. It's the first time that I actually
Well,
published
but
something, or that
you got
I'm-
them to agree, so you have
Well,
some expertise.
the one thing that has been agreed is that, when we're fabricating two of one thing, the second thing is at a discounted price. Like the duplicate of for part of the study is at a discounted price. Where you truly need them to be your partner is for like data collection and putting everything together for you. That's where, and that's just co-authorship of a report. That's when it gets to that. So the next one that I'm working on, we're going to do co-authorship because I need so much of the help of the lab technician. But when you have relationships and you tell them what's going on, and you like, it's part of something really exciting too. It's like the next technology. You kind of want to be part of it. The other test that I did was it was a no prep veneer case. So it was like 8 veneers, no prep. I did of course, pre-restorative alignment. I left some spaces, so for the proportions and everything. And then I did 5D plus, I did PVS, and I did Lumina. And then we did feldspathic, which is what we were going to deliver. But then Nelson Rigo did a second set of restorations on the Lumina scan alone without anything else. And it is, I mean, that's what I presented in Dubai. I did a case presentation in Dubai for the 150 top doctors in the world, or, that's kind of like the not the actual name, but that's what everybody was calling it. And I showcased that because it was just so cool. I cross-examined everything. So I tested both restorations in the mouth, but I also tested like in each model. So it's just so much that you can do. But it's true. The point is that it's proving that it's a true restorative scanning for like the details, the little details, the black triangles, the interproximal spaces, when you're not breaking the contacts, when you're doing veneers. Of course, the regular stuff, the crowns, and like we don't really talk about that because it's a given that a simple thing will happen when the complex scans are happening. But I do think it's exciting that we have a scanner that has all of this power, and it's like now it's out. It's like the first version out. Like then what we're working on and what's
only going to get better.
Absolutely. And I think this is important because it's getting good. Someone told me like I'm not just going to get something because it's new, and that's not the point. The point is if you're the early adopter and you're ahead of the game, as we continue and as like we continue to add things that we can do with it, you're going to be in the forefront of it instead of just now catching up and learning like from your old stuff. It's almost like the whole like horse and car kind of thing. It's like, sure, you were a really good horse rider, but check this out, learn it first
before my Model T, yo.
Yeah. And I do think if I may bring a different part of the reason why I'm so excited about it as a true comprehensive dentist is because I think that it's not just like a digital impression machine, but now with everything else that is being added to Lumina Pro and to the whole platform with the oral health suite, which is a platform for patient education, but it's also like now like with AI x-rays included, and now the ability to do multiple treatment plans. You can present a treatment plan if you're only doing alignment or if you're adding restorations. Today I did like a bunch of consults today. Today I closed a consult for 8 veneers, and well, I'm not gonna say me and my team closed a consult for Invisalign, 8 veneers, and 2 implants, 2 or 3 implants, just off of the iTero, showing like the multiple treatment plans, showing like drawing on the iTero. And usually as a DSD clinic, I do a full mock-up and I'll go this whole show. But now we have these abilities. You don't have to. You can really go at it. You just need to get good at it. I mean, I was adding restorations. I was adding the implants on the iTero. You can play with it in front of the patient. You just need to get good at it. You just need to get good at it.
What do you draw on with the red and blue pencil?
it's don't
your alimony checks.
I'm like, I do. It is red and blue, Jeff, but
no, it's your alimony check. That's it. The only thing it works for.
I need something to write on.
No, you can definitely write on the screen. That's what you can do. And it's really cool. It's just so cool because once you get used to it, the patients get so into it, and then they can they get a QR code and they get to take it home right away. It's just a completely different experience.
I agree, and you know, a couple of things that I want to say. One is that even, you know, coming from the analog, truly analog world, which I came from the red and blue pencil,
Same.
even coming from that world, the time and cost savings of those types of treatment plan presentations. I mean, you basically have created another 30 minutes to an hour of patient treatment time. And so you can't even put it's not even just about the lab cost and time involved. It's about how much time savings is there for you to be able to get the message to your patient and let me do the work that I'm good at. Like, you know, my job isn't to sit here and sell and figure out ways to try to tell you that you need what I can provide. My job is to actually do that and make it as simple as possible to show you what it is I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, and we are all visual.
I'm curious, Karla. I was just thinking about this, Jeff, actually, as you spoke about it. I don't think I've ever put it together before. You do the smile try-ins. That is a big part of your workflow, Karla. Like the folks come in, they get that emotional connection, they see it in their face. But is it fair to say, even seeing in your face, you don't fully understand what it means? Like, if it's a fixed hybrid, do you really understand, like, from a technical perspective, what that means? Or if it looks great in your face, do you really understand this is 4 crowns, 2 veneers, and 3 implants? Like, the power of that scan is, and maybe married with that, like, wow moment is, yeah, it is this amazing fundamental change, but it also includes or will be required these types of procedures, these surgical procedures, these technical procedures. We don't have to get in the weeds on how it's done, but you can kind of now really have them maybe closest that we've ever gotten to. What are you going to do to me?
Right.
To get from point A to point B.
Right. Because I love that end, but okay.
Yeah,
so
they think it's just a snap on. Like, let's pop it in and
but
go.
Now that image is your end. Before, we were taking something analog and praying to the gods that what we ended up putting in the mouth was going to look like what was waxed on a model. And now, whatever it is.
But then I could also argue that the day they come in for that the thing, they've consented to 14 maxillary units, and they walk into your office and you pick up the syringe and like, whoa, 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 what are we doing here? I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to prep all the teeth in order to give you the thing that you fell in love with 15 minutes ago. And they're like, oh, I didn't sign up for that. No, nope.
And then they go out to your front desk and ask for the full refund and tell you that they're going to argue with the credit card.
That's kind of a sad day, man.
I haven't had that happen, but I can appreciate that, like, seeing that emotional connection, but also marrying that with actually how we're going to get from point A to point B.
And that's where I think the simulation with the alignment first, so that you can then draw on the newly aligned teeth. I'm making the right proportions. I'm opening things up with the scanner. Now with the new restorative workflow, we can take different bites. So now we can take multi-bites and really understand what's happening with the jaw, so that the lab technician has all of that information directly from the scan. I mean, it's the marrying towards the patient, but then, okay, we promise that. They understand what we're doing, but now how do we do it? And just having the ability to have all of that in one machine, it's crazy. It's just, I can't believe we get to practice like this. It's just so cool.
It's great. I could talk about this for hours and hours, because honestly, first of all, you know, I always say to early adopters, because I've always practiced my whole career as an early adopter, I'm willing to take the hit on time, on having to learn. And so now there's a new generation of early adopters. And, you know, while everyone can look at you and say, oh, you get to try all the coolest things and you're doing the coolest stuff, and there's a big hit to be taken as an early adopter, and in the education and the extra time that it takes to learn, and the mistakes that you're going to make, and the feedback that you have to provide. So my hat is off to both of you for being early adopters in this technology, because it's really been tremendous. I mean, again, I've done it in earlier technologies, but I am not up to the level of where you guys are at. But all I know is just that one change in my practice, moving over to that Lumina wand, what a difference it made for everything I was doing full mouth. And where I am in the journey is not anywhere near where it is for you. So I'm kind of where the rubber meets the road, which is for most clinicians that are out there, it becomes a game changer.
Yeah, it's exciting, and you said so many things, and the thing that when you're doing those trials and all the work as an early adopter, sometimes this is going to save you time, but once it's completely ironed out,
right,
we're getting it not ironed out. And the one thing, and I want to take like 30 seconds as an ode to our patients too, the ones that let us, hey, we're developing this new technology, would you be cool with taking me after you've been here for 3 hours with a full mouth prep? Do you mind if I take another 5 to 10 minutes?
One more.
Just one more scan. So, I mean, it's very cool that our patients let us do what we love and let us, develop things for, the rest of us. And, thanks to you, Jeff, for being an early adopter, because of you, we get to do this.
That's right. And actually patients, for the most part, love to be a part of that process, as long as it's not painful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not totally risky.
And don't call them a guinea pig.
Yeah, you can't say that. You can't say that. And a gift card goes a long way.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
A gift card.
The power of Starbucks. That's right.
Yeah.
For sure. The gift card helps. But a lot of them have given it back. Like, they're like, I don't want it. I'm like, it's for you. You keep it.
Yeah, that's awesome. But patients do, when they see that you are excited enough about your profession, that is infectious. Like, I want to go to clinicians that are that excited about their profession. Do you want to see someone like that, or the guy who is the cheapest guy on the block who's looking at his watch because he has a tea time, in 20 minutes? So
they're rooting for you. They want to help us. I don't know if that happened to you, Jen, but they think they're helping me directly, and I don't mind that they think that. But it's kind of nice. They're rooting for you. They want you to do something cool. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, great job. Well, Karla, thank you so much for being with us. I can't wait to talk to you again. I'm going to IDS in Germany maybe Sunday.
Are you not going this year?
No.
So I can't wait to try to describe the things that I see that I will probably not be ready for yet, but you probably will.
He's buying a photogrammetry unit when he gets over there. I heard it's the latest thing.
Like 7 years ago, I started seeing those with, just such cool stuff. But anyway, I'm so jealous. I'm having FOMO. You're going to have the such
best.
A great meeting.
Please leave your Dinks checkbook at home.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need all the technology.
The boss has spoken.
Well, I think the bank gave us like a $400 credit limit when they gave us card anyway.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, that's because it's a nonprofit, so it's fine.
All right. Jennifer, would you like to close us out? You never get to do that. Yeah. Karla, thanks again.
Well, number one, always awesome to have people on here that we admire, who are friends, that we're actually growing in this profession together. So thank you, Karla, for spending some time with us. And for everyone who's listening tonight, if you can find an opportunity to participate in the process, whether it's Lumina or, manufacturers out there all the time are just wanting to get product in dentists' hands, to give feedback. I've been amazed in my journey, and it's been pretty short. I've only really been exposed to manufacturers for the last few years.
It's been longer than you think, Jennifer.
What?
Ooh, did I just say that?
What'd you say?
I just said it's been longer than you think, Jennifer.
It's only been like 4 or 5 years, maybe 6. Anyway, here's what I'll say. I have continued to be amazed at how much they want your feedback, at how much they actually want you to be completely honest about how you feel, because it doesn't benefit anybody if they put things on the market that consumers don't want. And in the dental field, it's small enough that when something fails, we talk really fast and furious. So if you have an opportunity, lots of different publications and manufacturers have open enrollments all the time for dentists to participate in that process. It's anecdotal, it can be scientific, but I promise you it'll be a lot of fun. With that, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Y'all have a great night.
Thanks. And thank you, iTero, for sponsoring our program and being a
Absolutely.
fantastic educational partner. So good night, everyone.
Night. Love you guys. Bye.
And that wraps up another podcast for Dentists in the Know. On behalf of Dr. Jennifer Bell, Dr. Chad Duplantis, and myself, remember that we've got a great profession, so let's make it a great day, dinks.